Hey everyone, today I want to talk about the metaverse. I've made some videos about the metaverse before and how it kind of eliminates any privacy that we may have in the real world simply because every interaction and aspect of reality is digitized, so it's recorded and it's analyzed, all that stuff. But today I want to talk about kind of the metaverse and how it drives inequality, like not necessarily between like the people who have technology and those who don't, because that's an issue too, where as more people move towards the metaverse, more people try it out, use it, and interface with that as reality. It creates a bigger divide between the people who have access to even the internet or technology and then people who don't. But I want to look at the inequality that the metaverse drives between early users and those who wait for, say, the platform to become more widely used, the headsets, for example, to become more accessible, and just for people to hang out and kind of wait in IRL, in real life, to live things here and then wait around to jump into the metaverse later on. The early users, because they're there now, they're building new worlds, they're kind of creating culture, they're setting up themselves to have far more than those who wait around and don't get on the platform now. And I think this kind of has a similar feeling to, say, a long time ago when people came from Europe to what's now the United States. The people who got here first were able to set up their own towns. They were able to kind of get a head start by finding out where the resources were, how to interact with the people who were there, and kind of getting themselves set up so that when people came later, they kind of had to start from zero. And there are cases, I'm sure, where the people who had everything set up, who were established, would share those resources and share their systems with newcomers as well. But I'm afraid that with VR, as we allow people to take things over and drive the world itself to shift to their interests, those who come later are going to be left out and will, one, either not stick around on the platform simply because there is this imbalance, and just because they waited around isn't allowing them to take advantage of the world that exists, this new digital world. And then kind of my second point is just looking at how the metaverse, regardless of if it's like haves and have not, or those who are there and those who aren't, it's kind of just dividing the population, because basically right now we have digital worlds running here and then the real world running here, like the physical, non-digital, analog world. They're both running in parallel. People are in VR, in the metaverse, just living and interfacing with that reality, adjusting to things there. They're interacting with other people in that world and kind of developing their own system of cultural norms, of culture in general, of interests, of discussion topics and all that stuff. And then you have the people over in IRL that are just continuing to live the same life that most of us are familiar with, just from being human and being alive. But I think as those worlds continue to develop in parallel, they're going to divide. They're going to go farther apart because as people move away from IRL into VR, they can kind of control their own reality, or they at least have more of a choice over what the reality they interface with looks like. So if they're tired of their job IRL, if they're tired of the people that they live around, they can simply choose a new reality that fits their needs, their interests, maybe their preferences on what life should look like. They have more control over that, which is, that's fine if someone wants to interface with a different world, that's their choice, I guess. But as kind of what their reality is and what they live in shifts away from IRL, it's going to be harder for all of these people to come back to IRL and kind of interact with each other, relate to each other, and kind of agree on things. Because if their sense of reality is based on something that's not real or it's virtual, they're able to kind of choose their own adventure, I guess, and they're going to relate to the people in that world, in the virtual world, because that's who they spend time around, that's who they talk to, that's kind of, who they have similar experiences with. And I think we've seen this before in the real world of people, choosing to listen to different music, choosing to watch different TV, consume different media, and that can lead to people having separate ideas about things. And that's, part of being a human, but at the end of the day, we'd have to come back and interface with the same world. So we'd have to go to the same grocery store to get our food. We'd have to drive on the same roads as those people. But as that shifts towards a virtual world, those interactions will be fewer and fewer, to the point where, we as humans might not know how to interact with other humans simply because we've been living in a separate world for so long. Languages will develop, or different languages will kind of come to, and not necessarily like, people in this world are going to speak one language, so we won't know how to talk to these people, but just, the way that we talk about things, even the cultural norms, the ideals that they have might just be different than the people IRL over here. So yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with the metaverse, virtual reality growing in popularity. Right now, it kind of feels like the people that are in VR, that are using the metaverse, aren't very loud, aren't vocal about it in the real world. And I think that's also kind of driving this inequality where if you're in VR and you're using this technology, you are excited about it and interested in it, but because that's like its own thing, you're not going to bring it back to here and tell everybody that they need to go do it. And maybe I'm just in the wrong communities online. I'm not hearing people excited about it, or maybe the technology just isn't amazing enough that people are totally sucked in and excited about using it right now, even though there is great potential for the development of new hardware, development of new worlds and realities and all that stuff. Right now, maybe it's just not as exciting. So yeah, I think kind of my main concern is just what happens when being a human is not this one thing. It's not interfacing with this one reality. It's like, we're all humans, but we're kind of webbed out where people are in their own little pockets, interacting with their own little worlds. And I think we've already seen that in just a less severe way with things like social media, with the internet allowing people to kind of access whatever they want. At the end of the day, they have to come back to this reality. So VR definitely opens things up, kind of moves us away from this one one thing that is being human, and kind of gives us more opportunities to dive into more immersive communities that maybe suit our needs better. So could be good, could be bad. That's my thoughts. Let me know what you think. I'd kind of like to know if there's any good resources out there that I could help, or that I could use to educate myself, to help educate more people on here. So if you have any ideas about VR or the metaverse or even Web 3.0, let me know and I'll respond to you in the comments. But thanks for watching, and check back soon for more videos.